We're about a minute early, so if folks are here, just say hello in the chat. Let me know that you see everything. Hi, Stephanie. Let me know that you see, that you can hear, that everything is good. Hi, Laura. Laura is our moderator today, and we are now just waiting for everyone to kind of show up. Great. Awesome. Awesome. So glad. Definitely let us know kind of where you are joining us from. And we would love to welcome you in. Awesome. Great. So glad. Alabama, Oregon. Jenny, I didn't know you were in Oregon. Huh. Well, who knows? I don't know why I didn't equate those two together. All right. You guys, we have some amazing folks joining us today to chat with us about their own journeys. And I am so looking forward to it. But we're going to give everybody just a minute to come in, to join us, to get started. And then we will invite our guests on the stage. Lancaster, Pennsylvania, Amish country. Awesome. And then how's the weather today, you guys? We are like in this weird sort of, September's usually really, really nice for us, but we are in this kind of weird place right now where we have like sort of fall weather and sort of really hot weather, and it just doesn't know what it's doing. Low 70s and sunny, nice. That sounds like perfect weather. Yeah. We usually get like 9 months of rain here, so I will take it. I will take it for sure. I'm having weird video stuff going on here right now. So let's see if I can get that sorted. No, okay. Well, I was hoping to blur my background because I've got some boxes here. Look, this is life, right? This is how life goes. So we are, I have boxes here of stuff that just got shipped to me, and you know what? It's fine. All right, listen. Hi, you guys. So nice to see you here. This is our first time using a new platform for our webinars. So hopefully all goes well, and we are going to try it out. And if it's good, we'll keep using it. If it's not, we'll go back to our old one. But hopefully there's no tech glitches today. But wanted to welcome you all in. Thank you so much for joining us. We have a really special event today. I'm not going to teach you anything. I'm not going to tell you anything. I want our students to actually share with you some of their experiences in terms of what they've been doing, because a lot of what we're hearing right now from folks out there in the world is that they can't sort of make the mental leap of, I'm here right now and it sounds good to be able to get to where I want to be, but I'm just not sure that it's possible for me. I'm not sure that I can do it. And so what better way to share what that looks like than invite some of our own students, our own members, to come forth and tell you their own stories and share with you what that looks like as a individual, a normal human being, going through this process, going through the journey of becoming a small service-based business owner and becoming a freelancer, becoming a virtual assistant. So we have 3 of our members who have agreed to come on stage today and share their own stories. They're going to tell you a little bit about the raw details of how things have worked for them, share some of those experiences. And not everything's going to be like roses and unicorns and it, because it's not, it never is. So they're going to share with you both the hard stuff and the better stuff, and then give you some really hopefully pertinent and practical advice in terms of what they've learned so far and like hear from them in terms of kind of where they are going from here. So I'm not going to talk much. For those of you who are new to us, I'm Stephanie. I am the CEO and head coach with Fully Booked VA. And I spend a lot of time working directly with our students to make sure that they are progressing, that they are getting their challenges met, that they are, learning what they need to learn, that they are getting the tools and the support and the resources, the mindset stuff that everybody needs, and help them, get moved along. We run a program called Fully Booked VA, and we work with freelancers and virtual assistants, and it's kind of like the same thing these days anyway, to give them the courses and the material and the education that they need, as well as the coaching and support, which is such a huge part of our program that you just don't really get in other places. So that is who I am. You don't need to hear a lot more about me. I own multiple businesses. I have been a service-based business owner for a very, very long time, and I have coached and strategized with service-based business owners for a really long time, and hopefully bringing all of those skills to our friends here. So I am going to invite our members on stage. Guys, this is the first time I have done this, so bear with me and hopefully it works. We're going to invite Debbie on first, and she is going to talk to us about her experiences. So Debbie, I sent you an invitation to come on stage with me. So maybe if you can accept that, hopefully what that means is that you are here. Oh, there you are. Yay, it worked. Hi.
Hello, hi.
Hi. So everybody, this is Debbie Deschamps. Debbie is, you can introduce yourself, but Debbie is one of our students who has been working through the program for the last few months and has her own stories to tell. So I'm not going to hold the stage any longer, Debbie. I was hoping that you could introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about your background, where you came from, and just, in a sort of 5 minutes, tell us a little sort of short synopsis of your story, where you started, when you started, how you progressed, kind of where you're at right now.
Sure. Sounds great. Thanks for having me. So I'm Debbie. I reside in Green Bay, Wisconsin, and I have been 40 years in trucking and owning a DJ business, hosting karaoke and trivia and things. And they've been fun businesses, but the DJ karaoke business keeps me tied to my town. And my big why for why I am doing this is to be able to work on the road and do more traveling and things like that. And so the gigs keep me tied to one location, and weddings and such that I play for book years in advance. And so it's really hard to get out of town. And trucking has been great as well. It's just always been up and down and not enough for me to really do it as a full-time thing. So I have been looking for a long time for resources, and a friend referred me that had gone through the course to Fully Booked VA, and I started in January 2nd, actually. So the start of the new year. And I worked for the first month on completing the course. And from there, I kind of put out just my natural to my natural network and just put out that this is what I'm doing, looking to make a change, and got a lot of information, or I mean, a lot of people interested right away. And I did get some clients quickly, but then I realized that that wasn't really the route that I wanted to go with some of the work. And so I backed off from that. And now I'm methodically growing my client database more the way I want to work, and specializing really with the realtors at the moment. But I see myself growing in lots of areas. So, and Tom, yes, Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre. How about love? How about that, Tom? Looking at Packard football on there, I just noticed. Yes.
So I think what's so interesting, Debbie, is that, a lot of people come to us and they are like, I just don't know what services I would offer. And I don't know how to make the leap from kind of what I did in a job to what I could do as, a freelancer or as a virtual assistant. And so you come out of trucking, and where did you see the correlation to the services that you could provide. And the second part of that question is, you have now figured out what your specialization is going to be. And so tell me a little bit about that sort of thinking in that journey from I work for a trucking person in the trucking industry. And I know you're not working for a trucking company, but tell me about that sort of bridge from what you were doing to what you're doing now.
Okay, sure. So is the trucking recruiting industry. But primarily I dealt with the sales sides of things and dealing with CRMs and the customer data and keeping workflows going and those types of things. And so when I started with Fully Booked VA on one of our coaching calls, as we were trying to figure out what I could really do from my past services, that's when we kind of discovered that customer data. And that was a good thing for me to, to really look at in specializing. And thanks to you, you had mentioned that realtors and other people, insurance companies and mortgage brokers and things have a lot of need for that. And so that's kind of where I started my feelers out to the people that I knew in those industries, and landed me my first client then, at that time.
And that's been actually really productive for you. But I think like that sort of client getting fear that a lot of people have is, they don't know how they're going to make the connection of like, I have an service to offer, and how do I find those people who need my services? And is there anything that you can tell people in terms of like making those sort of connections? Because from my mind, I've been doing this for a really long time, and I look at something like what you're doing and I say, oh, I can see all the places where you could systematically go out and find clients. But for someone who's coming at this without that kind of experience, like how did you bridge that gap?
Mainly the coaching calls. Really, it was going in and looking for mentorship and guidance and getting the confidence to know that I could take some of those skills that I have and learn and develop more, so it was really mainly just looking consistent action, and also looking, and following the course steps and those types of things, to learning how to build my own business, even though I've been, an entrepreneur for 40 years, working self-employed, but this is my first reel of developing my own business, all the aspects of it. Right. And so, just looking for guidance, I guess, is my main answer for that one.
Right. So for you found like what's been most helpful for you in terms of making progress is to ask the questions, get the support, look for the guidance. Is there anything else that you would say has been sort of significant in terms of your own progress?
Just not losing faith or hope, really. I mean, having the confidence that I can continue there. I mean, not every day is perfect. And sometimes there's tech issues or things that all of a sudden will start to drag you down. But I've just learned that you just have to keep moving forward, and step away if you need to for a minute, but then, don't quit. I'm not a quitter, and I never would. And so I'm fully confident that if I keep moving forward, and it's great to have the help if you need extra help. I love the community that you can ask whatever, and somebody's going to be able to assist you in some way most times.
So not everything is rosy, as we know.
No.
And so what are some of the big lessons or some of the big challenges that you've experienced, and how did you work through those?
I'm still working through them, of course. I don't think they ever completely go away, the challenges. But for my own self personal, I have always had a problem with, I'm a people pleaser, obliger. So that's whole what I should charge and charging my full worth, and those things have always been an issue in my world. And so just having the confidence to know that, I can charge what is needed, and, work through that. Those are really some of my bigger challenges, are just having my own boundaries, and like with time and work scope and things. One of my first, issue or clients, I had some of that, and I had to be very strong and be no, I don't do work for free. I mean, this is what we agreed upon, and those types of things. So
Yeah. And I, having watched you sort of evolve over the last, 6 months has been really cool because, that those are some of the specific things that we've actually worked on is, Debbie had the insight to come and forward and say, and I think a lot of people have the same challenge is like asking for money and asking for what we're worth. And so I know through some of our coaching, but you also did a lot of your own kind of mindset work on that.
yeah,
But I think the point is that nobody comes into this process knowing these things, right? And nobody comes into this process and is just like, okay, sweet, I'm going to take all of the course and then I'm going to do all the things in the course and then it's just going to work out, right? You have to supplement that with, some of your own deep discovery and your own, understanding. And I think you've done a really great job of doing that. If you had kind of one piece of advice that you would give to someone who's just starting out, what would that be?
It's a twofold. It would definitely be consistent action, even if it's small baby steps. I don't care how small. If it's just one little piece, consistently continue to move forward and ask for help as you need it, and take advantage of the help that is added on in this course with the coaching has been amazing. That's what's done it for me. And personally, it's been the personal and the coaching and things. I mean, the course, everything is great, but the personal interaction.
Yeah. And I also think the community is so great. Like you guys have really sort of bonded with each other and created these friendships. And, everybody, there's something about being in community with others that are doing the same thing. And that makes you feel a little less like you're crazy and that like, it's very isolating and that sort of thing. So I've been really loving watching all of you guys evolve as people inside of the program. So, Debbie, thank you. We are going to invite someone else on stage now too. And you guys all know each other. They have all developed relationships with each other. So they all know each other's stories and it's like really, really fun. So I'm going to invite Stephanie number 2 on stage with us. We can all hang out together. Oh, it sounds like is that you?
Right.
Okay, Stephanie, I sent you an invitation to come on stage, and we're going to welcome Stephanie with us as well and talk a little bit about her experience too. So
do I need, thank you everyone. Do I need to do anything to get off? Or
no, you're just going to stay unless you want to go off. I thought it'd be fun to have all of us together.
Yeah, okay, great. I didn't know.
Yeah, you can mute yourself or whatever, but
I will, absolutely.
But thank you, Debbie. I just think you should see it right within. Debbie, where did you see the invitation to come on stage? Was it right within the?
Yeah, it just popped right up on my screen. Like I saw you, and then all of a sudden a pop-up came. So if you have pop-ups blocked, maybe check on top. But yeah, it just popped up, and then you had to, allow your camera and microphone and everything.
Okay. I can send it again, Stephanie, if you need it. I sent it again there. Let's see if that worked. Tech issues. It's not really tech. There we go. There's Stephanie. All right. Cool. I love this. Hi. Oh, look at your nice background. You look so fancy.
Hey there. Great job, Debbie. Good to see you.
Stephanie, okay. So why don't you give us a little bit of background, kind of who you are, where you're from, and what your little journey has been and getting from where you were. And you started with us a little bit like past ago. So yes, Miros, this is all recorded and you'll get the replay link as well. So tell us a little bit about your journey, kind of where you've gotten to so far and, where you came from, and then we can go from there.
Okay. Well, backing way up, after homeschooling our kiddos, I decided to launch a career in residential financing and was in that for several years. Actually, you would have thought it was a great situation. I mean, the culture was fun and it was a top ranked company and I was on one of the top producing teams. And along came COVID. and we were sent home and had to figure out how to operate managing like more than 3 times our monthly workload. So that was my first pivot point when I had to adjust my processes and systems. But the whole COVID, like with everyone or a lot of people, it really amplified this feeling that something was missing. That even though I had the perfect scenario, I just wasn't fulfilled in that job. And so when the workload started to dry up because interest rates changed and they started to spike, that really amplified, I'm not happy doing this. Something has to change. So I started to look for alternatives, and I needed something that I could launch quickly and something that I could use my existing skill set. I couldn't go back to college again. I'm like notorious for getting all kinds of certifications, but this time it was like, no, I've got to like really be able to get some traction. And I found Fully Booked VA program, and I launched it or started the course, followed the steps, and it was very unsure. I've never been an entrepreneur, so to speak, but followed the steps and landed my first 2 clients in the first month because I just followed the, hey, reach out to people you know and just tell them what you're doing. And it was the kind of thing of, I'm doing this, do you know anybody? And people responded back saying, well, actually, I need help. Could you help me with X, Y, and Z? So I didn't even really have to think exactly what I was going to offer. When they said what they needed, I thought, I'm sure I could figure that out. That's pretty close to what I've been doing. So that's how I started getting traction, and did that for several months. And in my mind, because I'm not a risk taker, I wanted to make a lateral move. I wanted to replace my corporate income and transition laterally over to my fully established business. But the being discontent in my corporate job was that voice was just getting louder in my head. And I was finding, though, that the response from the people I was helping, their comments about, hey, I now can spend time with my family at dinner because invoicing is being done. Those kinds of things were so rewarding. I actually decided to make the leap from my full-time job before it was a lateral move, because it was what I needed to do emotionally and mentally. And so about 6 or 7 months into the business, I launched it full-time. So I just had my first year anniversary full-time, and in October will be my 2-year anniversary of finding Fully Booked VA.
And I first met you when I came back to the business in July. And I think what was so interesting is, like, I tell everybody this story because it was just so good. But, people are always worried about the finding clients, right? How am I going to find clients? And first of all, I love what you just said, because a lot of people don't understand just how simple it can be. And you did a very simple thing. Just reached out. I mean, we don't need hundreds of clients. We need a handful. Like, we need a small few, right? And you just did these very simple things that should be very easy for anyone to do, and landed those clients. Now, when I first met you, you had come to a coaching call and you had said, I'm trying everything. I'm doing everything all at once. And I'm having trouble like breaking past this and getting to some more clients. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. Yeah. So when I made the change that this was now going to be my full-time job, career, then the pressure was on. I put the pressure on myself, but when you have this expectation for earnings, it was like, okay, now I've got to like fill this gap and like fill it really fast. So then I just went head over heels trying to find clients in all different arenas. So I was pitching online, doing video pitching. All of that was new to me. I had not done that before. I was trying to network in my local community. And I hadn't done that in years. And that was for my financial job when I was in sales. And that was a disaster. So it brought back all this anxiety of walking into a networking event, figuring out how to communicate with people and let them know that I've made a change, because some of them recognized me from sales before. So just all the anxiety of local networking. And I was really stressed out. I was so stressed out, and then just kept this pressure on myself of, you've got to find a ton of clients to make up for this income that you've stepped away from. So I did. I came to the coaching call, and you were there, and you were able to really help bring clarity that I didn't need to be doing all the things. I needed to recognize my strengths and what worked best for me and what I thought I could do ongoing. And so of all things, I chose local networking. And just after that single coaching session, like just within a matter of a few weeks, I landed a number of clients, and it was magical.
And then you're like, Stephanie, I need to talk to you about building an agency. I'm like, wow. But I think what that speaks to is, and you've done a really good job of this, is being really, really like curious about who you are as a business owner, who you are as an individual, as a person, as a business owner, and really leaning into that strength, which I think has now like opened up other opportunities for you and better definition in terms of what you want to be doing in the business. So what I want to like transition from here is, you started out kind of general admin and like, which most people do, you know, I'm just going to offer whatever sort of comes to me or people are wanting, and I'm going to be curious and figure that out. And now where have you landed? Like now, what's the longer term vision?
Right. So, I mean, and I am coming up on 2 years. So I took that time to just learn and to figure out what I like to do. And there were things originally that I said I would do for folks. And then when the project wrapped up, I was glad. And I was like, oh, never again. Okay. That was not what I thought it was going to be. So I've done a good bit of detoxing from the corporate world, and I'm still learning about myself. And that has been key, because there were things I was forcing myself to do before that it was against the grain of how I'm designed, but it was just suck it up and do it. I mean, this is what's expected of you in this environment. So recognizing my strengths, my skills, realizing I enjoy connecting with people, because for a while I didn't want anything to do with people. I'm now finding that I enjoy delivering the services as far as general admin, but I really enjoy helping people connect and coming into a business situation where I can observe their current processes and systems, find ways to optimize that system, or even find a new tool to help set up the system, and then manage it from finding people to get the work done. So the whole idea is to integrate and sort of be not necessarily a coach. You and I have been working on how this actually is going to be hammered out, but just more in a different role where I'm more of an integrator instead of delivering the administrative services.
That's right.
Does that make sense? You can tell it's a work in progress.
No, but that's fine. And so there's so many things I want to talk about here, because these are all really great. So one of the things I've heard, and I don't know if Debbie is here, but Debbie might be here, but one of the things that I hear sort of frequently is that people are a little like, they have reservations about the term virtual assistant. You know what? Like, let it go, because what you guys are developing into, virtual assistant is a great place to start, right? And in my mind, a virtual assistant is just somebody who's providing services virtually, right? Whatever those services. But what we do, I know, Debbie, I know that's what you were the inspiration for that thinking. But, you know, Debbie, different Debbie, but Debbie is somebody who has this like piles of experience in her life. And, you know, if she joins us and she starts to work together with us, she's going to evolve into is something that is very different than what we would define as virtual assistant. And you are on that path, and other Debbie is on that path too. But this is like clay. And this is what happens as you keep going and you take action and you learn about yourself, is that you become something else. And with the right sort of help in terms of being able to see that and envision that and strategize that, we're going to turn you into a business owner who is more of a strategist and brings a team along underneath her. That's your path. And that's where it's going to evolve into. So I think what's holding some people back is this idea that they're just going to sit there delivering services forever. But that's just the step, like the first step in the door. Debbie is going to become a specialist in customer data and probably build these very interesting productized services around a very, very fruitful niche. You are going to evolve into something that we're going to craft together that is going to be very different than probably what you envisioned when you first started out. So that's what's so fun about getting to know all these people, is that everyone's got a different path, and your path doesn't have to be, I'm just going to forever deliver services for the rest of my life. Right.
Right.
So, yeah.
I mean, and that time I think was still valuable because it helps us then to relate to the struggles of our clients. So we really do know what it's like to navigate through that tool, or to try to make adjustments to your calendar. And when things go wrong with your calendar, how to troubleshoot. So you have the, so I've tried to look back on this time. I'm not a patient person by design. So I'm like, it's been 2 years and I still haven't specialized. But there again, I'm trying to give myself grace to grow.
But that's what's so real. And that's what, I've always been opposed to all of these promises with programs where it's like, in 90 days, you're going to be up and running. Look, in 90 days, you could sell a service tomorrow with nothing else in place. I could teach you how to sell a service tomorrow with nothing else in place. That's fine. The getting started part is, not the hard part, but the evolution and the growth. I mean, the minute that we start accepting and realizing that business is evolution and growth, and you're not like reaching a point and then all of a sudden you're there, because by the time you're there, you're already like over here. And so we stop, like when you get into that mindset of this just being a continuum of evolution and growth, then we stop judging ourselves for not having gotten there, whatever there is. Because I think if you look back over your 2 years, you're going to look at it and say, wow, I sure have progressed, right? I sure have learned a lot. I sure have, learned a lot about myself, and I've made progress, and I've gotten money in, and now I'm just continuing on that path, right?
Definitely. Yes.
Yeah. Awesome. If there was one piece of advice you'd give to somebody who's just kind of starting out, or just, considering going on this journey, what would you tell them?
Okay. It's pretty similar to what Debbie said. I mean, and this is making 2 assumptions: that you are trusting the fully booked VA process, and that you are actually doing the work. So like Debbie mentioned, being consistent. I would say, if those are the case, to take the time to recognize and reflect on the challenges, to see those as opportunities to grow for yourself, to really listen to how your body and mind are responding to situations, and then also for your business. I'm a huge James Clear Atomic Habits fan. And one of his quotes, if you don't mind me reading, is just really resonated and brought clarity for me. That if you feel resistance before you begin, it's usually procrastination and you need to get started. If you feel resistance after you begin, it's usually feedback and you need to make adjustments. And that just really helped, because as a solo entrepreneur, you don't have the corporate team to collaborate with and bring clarity sometimes, but we have the coaching in this community, which has done that for me numerous times. So I would just say, listen to what, or be observant of those moments of challenges and see them as opportunities for growth.
That's awesome. I promise that we didn't ask any of our guests
No.
today to talk about the program, because I think these things apply
No.
regardless of whether you're inside of our program or outside of our program. And I just like, I think that that's a beautiful quote. And I also love Atomic Habits as well. So thank you so much for bringing that to us, because I think that can apply regardless of whether you're inside or outside of our program. Debbie had a question. Did Debbie experience any issues being the owner of an existing business when launching her new VA business? Awesome question. So I'm going to let you answer that, Debbie.
I'm not exactly sure what issues you mean specifically, Debbie, but I'm still doing gigs. It's been 40 some years. I'm still doing some of my, my night gigs. And, I do get calls from trucking still as well. So I kind of dabble in all of it a little bit. Just maybe keeping it all going, I guess, or like in the transition time frame. That's maybe an issue, but I'm really methodically growing my business. I'm not worried about having everything here like immediately. So I don't know if that's answering your question. I'm not sure.
Yeah. And I think, to Debbie's question, like I'm one of those, did you announce your new business to existing clients, or do you keep things separate?
Oh, everyone knows. I've put it out there to the world. I've always been, maybe it's a little bit different because the DJ business doesn't matter. That's mine and whatever. And as far as trucking goes, that owner, he may not be necessarily pleased with the fact that I'm diverting to some other things as well. But it's, no, I didn't worry. I just did it.
Yeah. Kathy is it Kate or Kathy? Kathy. She's curious about the types of services that Debbie and Stephanie started with.
I personally started, the first client that I had, they hired me to do some calling for them, setting appointments for them, and then workflow follow-ups and CRM and those types of things. And that's how that developed for me with a realtor.
CRM was a big one for several of my first clients. So it's relations management software. That seems to be a big one that people pay for, but they don't use. They're always looking for someone to get in there and update it and maximize it, personalize it, customize it, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then other stuff was like email management and travel research and reservations. So, yeah.
And I think you start with like Stephanie said, she's kind of started with what people were asking for and sort of cut her teeth that way. And then it's a great way to begin, because then you start to get a sense of like, what do I like doing and what do I know? Because we need to build businesses that we like, and that's what we do over time. So start somewhere, and then you get to know yourself better. And we talk a lot about knowing yourself as a business owner, because it's like the key to building the business that you're actually going to put the time and effort into. Okay. I'm going to welcome Laura on stage. Laura is our third student story of the day. And Laura has a bit of a different trajectory than Debbie and Stephanie had, and it's been really fun to watch. And so, Laura, if you can give us just a little bit of background in terms of kind of when you started, where you came from, what has happened so far, and then we can dive into kind of some of the lessons and that sort of thing.
Okay. So for me, different story. My educational background and my job professions for the last 12 plus years was in education. I was a teacher and worked in early childhood settings for the majority of my career as an adult. And then after COVID, I was a childcare supervisor, and things changed, the climate changed, staffing, it was very stressful managing that, and then also being able to come home and be present and available to my two kids and my husband. So I made the difficult choice to quit and leave that sector behind and sort of put all my eggs in this basket of creating my own business. after working with my husband in his business, he's an online fitness coach and nutrition specialist. And I was just helping him out, organizing his back end administration, client management, lead management, things like that, and realized that this is something that I could easily do for multiple other online coaches. So started in Fully Booked VA in March of this year. As of May 1st, I had landed my first 2 clients. And then as of now, I'm up to 6 clients and I'm fully booked.
You're fully booked. That's right.
Yeah.
So Laura and I are now working on how we scale that business and make it so that she can continue to serve a few more clients before we move to the sort of the next phase of her business, which I think is coming. So I think what's interesting to me is like just how quickly your trajectory has been. I mean, you were fully booked by June and you started in April. And to me, there's a little bit here around your specificity and being very, very clear on like you kind of leapfrogged all of the trial and error and you like launched right in terms of understanding exactly who you're going to work with for and what you're going to do with them. So tell me a little bit about that. Like, how did you get that clear around your services? And I know we've done a little bit of work on clarifying those even further, but tell me a little bit about kind of getting there.
I mean, it all started with sort of just very general admin work for everybody. It was all sort of within the same scope of managing client journey, client leads, scheduling out social media posts and things like that for them. And then after having a few coaching calls with Stephanie, we sort of narrowed it down to like the main concerns or the main problems that a lot of the online fitness coaches were having was managing clients and managing leads more so, and organizing that, as well as automations and setting up automations for their onboarding process, because that's a whole headache in itself for them in many cases, setting up multiple different apps, all the emails going out. So we've sort of narrowed it down to those 2 things and had sort of, I'm still finalizing the details, but that's sort of going to be like a productized service package sort of thing that I'm going to start doing, because I am fully booked, but obviously I still want to be able to take in leads and clients as they come. So after having conversations with some of them, if this is something that I think that they could utilize, is something at least I have it in my back pocket to be like, well, look, this is actually something else that I do.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that specificity helps you in terms of being very, very clear on, exactly what, and you have said no to some services too, right? There were things that you realized that just weren't in your sort of skill. But I think the thing I want to point out here, Laura, is if I'm not mistaken, none of this was work you did before in your previous jobs. No, this is all stuff that you learned and that you figured out how to do very, very quickly, right?
Yeah. Through trial and error for a little bit of the automation stuff.
That's right. But you did it and now you're doing it. And I think, that's one of the things we've always said. I'm a certified management consultant and I work in, corporate and the tech industry and what have you. But one of the things we always kind of say as consultants is we just need to be a few steps ahead of our customers, right? And most of your customers are just like, I don't even know how to start with this. And so you're already ahead of them. And that's all that you need, right? And you'll continue to grow and you'll continue to learn as you do it. But that's like, that's all we need to be is a few steps ahead and understanding kind of what is most important for them and what they're really trying to get done. My question for you, what have you found has helped you kind of keep making progress and keep steadily kind of moving ahead?
I mean, for clients and things like that, I've done a couple presentations with other business coaches that have that work with online fitness coaches, nutrition specialists, and so forth. So I've done a couple like 40-minute presentations for them, which I was very, very nervous for. But from there, it was more just making connections too with a lot of the people that were on the call or even following up with them through social media afterwards. Thanks for attending. If you have any questions or anything, let me know. And then in some cases, it's led to clients.
Yeah. I'm so glad that you mentioned this because All right, listen, I'm going to get on my soapbox here for a second. I've been coaching small business owners for decades, right? And one of the, like, when we present you with all of your options for finding clients and strategies for finding clients inside of the program, I think we give you like 8 different ways that you can go out and find clients, and you get to choose the ones that kind of make sense for you. And it's super interesting to me that what I know about selling services is that one of the most successful and easy ways to get clients is to do what I call borrowing someone else's audience. So it is getting into partnership with someone who is also serving the same audience, but maybe in a different way, and they're kind of adjacent to you. And talking to their audience, you come already with credibility because this person is bringing you to their audience. You're solving a problem that everybody has, and it is a very, very effective way to find clients. And everybody says, "Oh, I don't really want to." I'm like, come on, it is so effective, and that is what you have proven, is getting in front of those audiences by partnering up with someone else who's already serving them, has led you to sort of a constant stream of a pipeline of leads, right? And not all of them close, but it's worked really well for you. And for some reason, people still go back to like doing cold pitches. I'm like, that is the worst way to get clients. Like, yes, you could do it. And if you're really consistent with it, and if you really put the time and effort in, for sure. But it's also really hard, right? Why people don't kind of reach out to these other strategies that are so much easier, and partnerships is one of the most effective ones, I don't know, but it's worked really, really well for you, and has kept your kind of pipeline full. And I think that's a really important thing to sort of recognize. What are some of the big lessons, like the challenges or the lessons that you've sort of come up upon as you've been growing kind of quickly? And what were some of the things you've had to solve along the way?
In the beginning, it was, I think, learning to trust myself and then step out of my comfort zone, because I was stepping into something entirely new and different. And even just like sharing that news with like my family and people that wouldn't understand the concept of what I was doing. So that was sort of the first challenge. And then the second challenge, as I've gotten busier and then became fully booked, is managing my time and my clients' like list of tasks that I needed to complete. And again, that was something that Stephanie and I were working through, was just trying to figure out like, how am I blocking off my time and my calendar, and being able to have time for everybody and everything that they need done, but also still have time for me and my kids and be a part of their extracurriculars after school. So that was the second biggest challenge. And I've finally gotten a pretty good handle on it in the last like few weeks, even just being very strict with my time and my time constraints and my blocks, and trying to stick within them the best that I can.
Yeah. Yeah. That is something that each one of you guys has come up against at some point in time. Is the scheduling and how do we fit this in, and that will evolve as you get busier, as you have different types of clients. We always like to talk about sort of a portfolio of clients where you've got some of these anchor clients, plus you're sort of filling in some of the gaps with project-based clients, and just making sure that you've got that sort of mix going. So I think the way you structure your schedules, the way you fit in the work is going to evolve over time, but doing it is the important thing. Not doing it is where you start to get like a flag in the wind, right? And you're wasting a lot of time and effort with this constant negotiation around where you're going to spend your time. So that was a real game changer for you, for sure. Mm-hmm. Anything else, anything else that's sort of come up for you around challenges, lessons, big things that you've kind of learned along the way?
I think just honestly, part of it, I think, is just trusting the process. I mean, everybody took the jump, started fully booked, or was toying with the idea, and then everybody made that leap, and you're worth it to yourself to actually follow it through and see it through to the end. Because I know at different points it's tough. I know some of the modules were tough, but it's there for a reason, and it's good practice for when you're actually out there with your clients, doing the work, pitching, getting leads, and so forth. So right. Just sticking to it.
Awesome. And if you had one piece of advice you would give to people who are just starting out, what would that be?
sort of, I guess, similar to what I just said, and then like what Debbie and Stephanie had already said too, is just trust yourself and trust the process. Um, there's obviously a reason that you wanted to take this leap. So, trust that and run with it, because you'll only have positives and great things come from it.
Awesome. Okay. Thank you, Laura. I wanted to do just a little bit of a roundtable and then open up. If you guys want to get your questions in for the ladies, put them in the chat, and then we'll do a couple of minutes for answering questions from everybody who's here. But I had a couple of questions for you guys too, and maybe we'll just do sort of a round robin response. Maybe starting with Debbie, because I have you in my Brady Bunch grid here. What have you learned about yourself in this whole process? Debbie, when did you start?
Goodness gracious. Let's see. That I like, probably the biggest thing that I've learned is because it's pretty much been a solo, like I've run the DJ business and everything alone, and I do the gigs alone. And in trucking, I was independent, and yes, there was a company owner, but I didn't really work with them one-on-one, and it was just all by myself. And as much as it's still my own business, having the group and the community and everybody to, like, I don't know, just bounce off or know they're there and, talk when you can or just whatever with your questions. I love the team. So like, I love having that network of support. So that's the biggest thing I learned. I always thought I don't want to work with anybody again. I just want to be all by myself, but that's not really the case. So
awesome. Yeah, that's really interesting too, because we are parallel in that I've been a lone wolf for a very long time. I own 4 businesses. I have 2 partners in one of my business and, kind of a team in the other business. But it really came to me this year that I really want to build a team. And I want to build a team of people I get to spend a lot of time with. So for those of you who aren't aware, we are actually going to be building an agency next year to serve online business owners. And these 3 guys are actually in a 12-month mentorship program where we are building the first team of freelancers to staff up that agency. So that was like a big thing for me this year too, is like, I thought that I really wanted to just be independent and be on my own all the time, but I'm really missing having a team of people around me and to working together towards the same goal. Same question for you, Stephanie. What have you learned about yourself in this process?
Well, I could just say ditto, because that has been a big realization. When I left corporate, I did, like, if I didn't say it out loud, definitely said it in my head, I'm done with people. I just want to do my job, keep my head down, and stay to myself. Working at home alone is perfectly fine with me. And through the coaching, you helped me recognize that I do enjoy connecting with people. And I was denying that so much that I even told you I was an introvert. And then you told me to retake some assessments, and I tested as an extrovert. So even that, I was just telling I just don't connect with people. I just don't get people. And now I'm like, oh my goodness. And it is. Networking went from being anxiety. Walking into a networking event used to create so much anxiety. And I'm still learning. Trust me, I'm not. But my mental shift, now I look forward to networking events and making connections while I'm there. So yeah, connections, people are so important, and they're what bring the spice to life, so to speak.
Yeah. And we also evolve over time, right? The narratives that we have from ourselves 20 years ago are really, really subject to change. And then same question for you, Laura. What have you learned about yourself?
Honestly, almost the same sort of thing. Is just, even I'm an introvert, and generally by nature more of a quiet, shy sort of person. So to like put myself out there, take like calls, do the presentation, put myself out there on social media, even like my face out there, like it's a whole different realm that I never thought I would see myself in. And I think being a part of the community and doing the fully booked program, and then now being a part of the mentorship, I think that's just given me the extra like push and support that I needed to really like branch out and be out there and let myself be known.
Here's what I'll tell you guys is I've been in this world for a very long time and coaching people in this world. And I can't tell you how many times I've heard people say, I'm an introvert. I can't be a business owner. I can't sell. And that's actually, introverts are some of the best salespeople that I know because they tend to listen, and selling is very much about listening. It is all about listening, because when you listen and you let people talk, they will give you all the cues you need to form your messaging to suit what they are asking for. So introverts can be, I know so many introverted people who are amazing business owners. And introversion doesn't necessarily mean you're shy or you're quiet. Introversion is more about where you get your energy from. So I know a lot of extroverts who tend to be like maybe a little more shy or quiet. And I know a lot of introverts who are actually like comfortable socially, but they just don't like get so much energy out of, being around people. So I think this whole introversion extroversion thing is a little bit of a cliche, and it's, that cliche of loud, obnoxious salespeople is totally outdated. When you listen and when you can hear, you become a very good salesperson. And that should also like eliminate some of the anxiety people have if they're thinking of getting started saying, oh, I'm shy or I'm introverted. There's so many different ways to sell that don't involve like jazz hands, right? That don't involve like just having real conversations. Like one of the best strategies that I've ever found in terms of building my own business was to just be part of a community. Just be part of, I was in a Facebook group of business owners who were my people that I just really enjoyed being around. And I wasn't even trying to sell, but I filled my entire first year of my business as a coach in that program. And I still have these relationships 10 or 12 years later, just because I would participate in the conversations, I would ask questions, and I wasn't even intending to sell, but because I was there, I was a helpful human being. People liked to talk to me, probably made a few jokes. Then they would see that I actually knew what I was talking about, and they would seek me out. So I never had to sell. Sure, I'd get on sales conversations where I would have a conversation with someone who already knew who I was and was interested in working together, and then we would talk about the logistics of that. But if you are what you call introverted and you have a hard time thinking about going out and networking, or you don't have to do that. You can just be a helpful human being and be of service to others, and people will seek you out. I promise you, it's an absolute strategy. So with these 8 or 9 different strategies that we've got for finding clients, there's got to be something that you can like put yourself into that's going to work for you, no matter what your personality is, no matter how you're motivated, no matter any of that stuff. I promise. Okay. We have 3 more minutes left. Debbie had a question for Debbie. You had mentioned you're in the wedding industry. Other Debbie is in the wedding industry, and she's been in for quite a long time. And she was just wondering what your role was in the wedding industry.
Yeah, that's all. I knew we were both in the same. It's just curiosity.
Yeah, but Debbie, you have a DJ business.
Yeah. No, she asked me. I asked her.
Oh, you asked her. Oh, okay. Well, I don't have my Debbie straight then.
Yeah. No, that's fine. I asked her, but okay. Oh, destination wedding. Cool. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was me
wrong. Okay. All right. Any other questions for these 3 lovely ladies who are, listen, we are not a business who comes on and is like, everybody's killing it. I have personally witnessed all of the challenges that each of these ladies has come across, and they are still going, and they are still doing it, and they worked through it, and they figured it out. But none of this is unicorns and butterflies, you guys. Come on, every week there's something new to like deal with or what have you. But this is the consistent action. This is the consistent dedication. This is the commitment. We talk about those 3 pillars of success: taking consistent action, getting supported, and committing. Now, does that resonate with you 3? Like, would you say that those 3 pillars have been important for your growth?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, there's a reason that we came up with them. There's one question in here. What has been the best lesson you've each learned that has helped you grow the most in your business?
Ask for help for me. Know
Yeah.
that it's okay to ask for help.
Yeah.
Same for you, Stephanie.
I would agree with that. And I would say to keep my thoughts in check, the mindset part is huge. So the imposter syndrome stuff, the stuff that just all the negativity, and then being in community helps to bring clarity to that. Because when you hear it, you can't decipher sometimes that voice from your own. So mindset is huge.
And then we have Marissa.
Yes.
Our mindset Marissa. Marissa is one of our coaches who focuses on mindset. And if you were to answer that question, Laura, what would you say is the best lesson you've learned that's helped you grow the most in your business?
I mean, it's one thing to learn about like time blocking and time management, but to actually put it in place and do it day in and day out is a whole different story. That's made the biggest change, I think. Just with like the stress and overwhelm I was dealing with before implementing it. And then now, like, obviously, you know, like you said, not everything's unicorns and rainbows. Like I still have stress, but it's manageable and I'm able to actually physically see what I've got going on each day, each week, throughout the month, etc.
Yeah, awesome. Another question. It sounds like none of you use social media for marketing. Don't want to oversimplify. Laura, maybe you can start with that question.
So I use social media. I have my business Instagram. I have a Facebook business page and a LinkedIn. Instagram's the biggest for me because a lot of my market is on Instagram. So I use that one more than anything else. For me, it's not because I have a network of coaches that my husband also mentors and works with. It's more just like putting myself out there once or twice a week, just being like, yeah, I'm here. Like, if you guys, here's my tips for the week or my tips for this or advice and whatever it is, it's just putting it out there and reminding them that I am there and I am present. And then in turn, I also interact on their stories and their posts and things like that.
Yeah. So social media management is actually a huge part of Laura's business because that's where her clients are. So the question I would have for you, Laura, is if you were running your business and it wasn't focused on that specific audience, would you see yourself using social media as a marketing tool?
I think more just as like an online presence, but not necessarily to find clients.
Yeah. Yeah. And then Debbie and Stephanie, do you guys want to answer the question as well?
I can quickly. I haven't had a real huge presence, but every client that I've gotten has been from social media. So like the last client that I had, I just posted a question in a group, and then they reached out to me and asked if I could help and contracted me for some things. So yes, I do use it, but I haven't huge, but it's definitely coming.
Yeah, I make a distinction there between social media and online communities. Some people may not, but a lot of people, and I think this is where this question is coming from, a lot of people come to us and say, I hate social media, right? I hate social media. I don't want to use social media. And my response to that is like, that's fine. You don't have to, but you do need to connect with people and you do need to find a way to find them and reach them. And you can do that through, online communities, groups, that sort of thing, even like Reddit, honestly. You just need to make connections. And I don't think that, for Debbie and Stephanie, posting on social media and creating content has really been a strategy for them, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, no, it hasn't. It has not been a strategy. I just asked a question one day and it did bring a client. So
yeah. And that's what we call being of service, right? Finding communities and being of service and that sort of thing. And then Stephanie, did you want to answer the question as well? I kind of spoke for you there.
No, I do not have a social media presence. I have a business or a LinkedIn page, but that is definitely a tool that I'm not optimizing. So always room for growth.
Yeah. Okay. Last question. Do you feel like you have to have all of your social media handles and domains to match? Is that a component of success? Well, I have an opinion on that, but I'll let one of you guys answer that.
Somebody else can take that one. I don't know. To say
I mean, I have them matching, but I don't know that it's led to success necessarily.
A lot of people worry about this. They're like, oh, my website domain name and the name of my business and my social media handle. Like, listen, if you really are going to be committed to an online presence and that's your primary way of marketing, you probably want some consistency. But people are used to people tend to focus on one platform. And so if they find you on one platform and that's where they find you and that's where they're going to, spend their time, I just don't know that it really matters that much to have, for a business our size and kind of what we're doing. Yeah, we probably want some consistency across all of our branding, but I can't get fullybooked.com. So maybe I'm going to have befullybooked.com, and our, handle on Instagram is going to be @fullybookedba. Nobody cares, right? Because you're going to link over to those platforms, but nobody is sitting there watching you on every platform and going, oh, they did this here and this there and this here and this there. So, people get way too worried about this and what their logo looks like and all that sort of thing. I feel like your brand is important in the sense that you don't want to look like a 5-year-old did it, but it does not need to be, crazy, especially when you're just getting started. Okay, we're going to shut it down because I'm already late getting to our next meeting with the mentorship guys. But thank you all for being here. Ladies, thank you for joining us and for telling your stories. I think this is super helpful for other people to hear and to understand that there's like this, this very real angle of starting your business, but it's all very possible. So thanks, guys, everyone, for being here. And there will be a replay that we send out. And I hope that this was very helpful for you in giving you some inspiration. And if you are interested in learning more about the program, please reach out. We're happy to provide you with that info. And just congratulations, you guys, on how far you've gotten.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye, guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.